Akira is a skilled gamer who also manages to score top marks. Like a less weeb came from the world God only knows. One day, he is attacked by a killer straight out of Dead by Daylight. He lures him into an abandoned building and impales him with a metal pole. Suddenly, a girl appears and kills him, and he awakens in an auditorium with several others. The girl, Mion, explains that they have been chosen and given special abilities. When a man tries to interrupt her, Mion turns her hand into a cannon and kills him. She continues that once their shackles unlock, they will be able to use their abilities, and they won't be penalized for killing anyone. She asks Tatara, a class rep, or Kirasaki, a man straight out of Dual City, if they have any questions. Yuri asks why they were chosen, and Mion replies that it was completely random. Young tells Mion it is time, and they are ushered into separate rooms where they can test their abilities before participating in the first test, one-on-one battles. Akira enters his room and is shocked by his ability. Akira is brought into a room to face Kirasaki. The match ends when one admits defeat or is killed, so Kirasaki advises him to surrender. Akira says Ligma balls. When the match begins, Kirasaki transforms his stick into a katana, forcing Akira to Jackie Chan his way out. He ducks into a science prep room, where he makes use of several chemical tricks to confound him. Akira bluffs that his ability is the same as Mion's, and a cannon manifests in Akira's arm, badly injuring Kirasaki. Bleeding out, Kirasaki surrenders. Young wonders why Akira didn't do that from the start, and Mion replies that he couldn't. In a flashback, Akira's ability is revealed to be Sophist. His ability is whatever his opponent thinks it is. Mion is thoroughly impressed. For now, Akira decides to play along and make Mion regret ever giving him this ability. A few hours prior, Yuri tries to figure out a way home. Yuri is a regular high school girl with two best friends. She has two problems: a schoolmate turned stalker and her mother, who often brings home random men. But above all, Yuri hates the notion of random chance. One afternoon, she dies while trying to talk her stalker down from jumping off a roof. Frustrated, Yuri tries banging on the door to no avail. She tears open the envelope and learns that her power grants her massively increased physical strength. In another flashback, Yuri has managed to save up nearly 1,000,000 yen to leave her mother forever. When she learns that her mother's boyfriend's daughter, Riria, has had nothing to eat since breakfast, she cooks him some omuris. Later, while in the shower, she discovers that Riria has cigarette burns on her back. Yuri is led to meet her opponent, Kazuto, a seedy old pervert who has the power to smell what the other is feeling. When the battle starts, he abuses Yuri's feelings of anxiety and disgust to gain the upper hand. In a flashback, after a young prostitute attempted to blackmail him, Kazuto killed her. This turned him into a serial strangler, and he is excited to do it again to Yuri. However, at the mention of random chance, Yuri's rage grows, unlocking the full potential of her powers. She overpowers the much larger Kazuto, beating him up and claiming victory. She has one reason to go home: to save Riria. Later, Kazuto is brought into another room, where he meets Yuri, Kirasaki, and Shin. Mion announces that the next program is a 5v5 team battle. Satoru speaks and reveals his ability: change a button into a rope. Yuri says his ability is useless. Shin, a former pro wrestler, describes his ability as turning invincible for 2 seconds, and afterwards, Kirasaki and Yuri share theirs. When it is Akira's turn, he claims that his ability is the same as Mion's. If he can help it, he'd rather not reveal his ability's true name. Later, they are ushered into an arena, and Akira realizes he has been played. The round isn't a team battle but one at a time judo-style matches. Satoru faces Rin, who advises him to surrender. If he does, then she'll give him some service. Satoru thinks that isn't a bad deal, and Yuri yells at him to take this seriously. Satoru proposes that they flip a coin to decide who will forfeit, and Rin agrees. However, as soon as Satoru looks up, Rin kills him. Poor guy didn't even make it through half the episode. Satoru's death causes their team to quarrel, but Akira manages to calm them down. When it is Shin's turn, his opponent, Ringo, forfeits immediately. Ringo explains that her ability, Copy, didn't work. Rin nearly chokes her to death, but Zokamyuin manages to calm her down. In reality, Ringo's ability is to copy one's power at 1/10 the value, and there's no way she beats a grown man in a fight. Kirasaki fights Zokamyuin, who has the ability to turn marbles into wrecking balls. However, when Kirasaki starts dodging and cutting through them, his true ability is revealed: to create a sword that can cut through anything. Zokamyuin realizes she cannot win, but if she surrenders, there's no telling what Rin will do to her. Zokamyuin decides she can't give up, and she tosses dozens of marbles that Kirasaki seamlessly cuts through. Her final attack is foiled by Kirasaki's hidden blade, and he asks her again to surrender. However, he is struck by a stray marble, which hits both of his marbles. Akira climbs on stage to face Kuji, and it is time for him to test his ability. When his cannon fails to materialize, he turns his attention to Kurosaki, which causes the cannon to appear. However, for some reason, Akira's attacks fail to hit Kuji. Kuji is terrified. He has never excelled at anything in his life. Rin claims that the girls will do anything he wants if he wins, which encourages him to fight. However, Akira has already deduced his ability to nullify other abilities as long as his hand is touching the ground. Kuji surrenders. This concludes Akira's tests. The other person designated in his ability must be someone who also acknowledges him, which explains why it only manifested when he called out Kurosaki, and why it didn't when he tried targeting Kuji's teammates. Yuri is up next, but she is horrified to see Aoji, the stalker who killed her. He boasts that his ability allows him to turn his body into iron, but despite that, Yuri sends him flying with a single punch. For the penalty, the losers are forced to wear bunny outfits to serve the winners a Chinese-themed meal. Akira notices that Yuri's wrist is injured, so he stabilizes it with his handkerchief. Afterwards, they are ushered into another room for round 3, but Mion says that the losers still have the real penalty awaiting them. Akira's team goes their separate ways for the 3rd round, and Shin hopes to see them all again. Akira asks Yuri to bring back his handkerchief, which he has had since he was a child, safely back to him later. After planting this small seed of affection, Akira enters a tunnel alone. Akira receives an interface device and is told he has 100 points and has to earn 1,000 to enter the next round. However, it is evident that the 3rd round has been ongoing for some time. He encounters Katsuya, who means to recruit him for his green team. 4 ruffians, self-titled the Dragon 4 of the red team, chase Yuri, leading them to a premature reunion. Despite being the Dragon 4, their logos don't match. Idiots. Katsuya manifests his bow ability to hold them off, but to their surprise, Matsushita also sports the cannon ability. After Yuri makes them conscious of it, Akira also manifests his cannon, and in the ensuing explosion, they escape. Katsuya brings them to the green team's camp. He greets a little girl named Herka and a baby named Taro, and to Akira's surprise, the camp is filled with civilians. They meet Shirasagi, the green team's leader. He and Katsuya are excited to learn that Akira and Yuri's abilities are combat types, which will turn the tide against the red team. Shirasagi explains that completing quests earns you points, which can be used to buy supplies. However, the red team is led by 2 leaders who mean to remain in this round forever by collecting players and using them as slaves without ever advancing. At the red camp, Mitsuru reports to Hajime, the red team's boss, about his failure. Hajime tells him to get a beer from Rin, but he uses it to bash Mitsuru's face in. Kuro, the second boss, tell them to get out. However, Kuro is wary that Akira's ability may be a rare one like Hajime's. Shirasagi says there is also a blue team, which remains neutral in the conflict. He asks Yuri and Akira to join the green team, but Akira chooses to hold Shirasagi hostage. Shirasagi tells him to try it, and after a tense confrontation, he fires. Akira's cannon is blocked by Shirasagi, convincing the former of his capability. When Momoko tells them that an influx of players complicates their housing situation, Akira offers to share a room with Yuri. Yuri is overly conscious about sharing a room with Akira, made worse after she discovers a condom. Instead, Akira convinces her that his ability is telepathy, enabling them to speak without being monitored. After learning of her motivations, he trusts her enough to tell her his true ability, Sophist. Later, Mion tells them about a special event occurring the next day. Shirasagi organizes his team into teams. The next day, they head out, and Akira asks Yuri to remember their agreement. When they arrive at the ruins, Mion summons hordes of ghouls to attack, each worth 30 points. As an added restriction, players are not allowed to harm each other. Shirasagi's formations mow down the ghouls. Notable team leaders come to the fore: Iji,